In the year that just ended, 2024, ISIS-inspired or affiliated attacks were actually thwarted in a lot of places like Texas and Oklahoma and New York. And the folks at the Homeland Security House Committee say that more than 50 planned attacks just like these were uncovered in the past 3 years. Thank God none of them succeeded. I'm joined now by Rukmini Callimachi. She's a foreign correspondent for the New York Times who covers international terrorism with a focus on al-Qaeda and ISIS. Rukmini, thank you so much for being on. Why is it that today ISIS and hearing about a flag on the back of a truck took us all by such surprise? Why did we all think it was no longer our problem?
Ashleigh, thank you for having me on. I just wanted to correct one thing, which is that I cover real estate now. I covered ISIS and al-Qaeda for a time for the New York Times, but not anymore.
All right, thank you.
But regarding ISIS, I think the issue is that we just haven't been reporting on it as aggressively as we used to before. According to data that we have and the testimonies of Christopher Wray of the FBI, at any given time in the last decade, there have been around 1,000 active investigations covering all 50 states of potential ISIS-inspired attackers or ISIS recruits. Since 2014, some 250 have been arrested. So it's this kind of slow hum that's been ongoing. Obviously, there was a peak in 2014, 2015, and 2016 when the group held huge swaths of the Middle East and of other countries, and it has dipped off since then. But as the data that you yourself shared, it never fell off completely. And today's attack is an example of what can happen.
So, look, when we first began to learn about ISIS, most people heard the headline, it's worse than al-Qaeda, much, much worse than al-Qaeda. And certainly the videos and the propaganda and what we were learning seemed to comport with that. Then we saw the flag, and that became the brand. That became the mark. But today, I just was curious as to whether that's still the brand and still the mark. Does this look to you like a guy who's really allied with ISIS, or does this look like a guy who saw videos and wanted to pretend he was one of them? Or is it even possible to know?
So the data points that are publicly available now and that my own newspaper has reported is that number one, the ISIS flag was found on the back of the truck, which you're showing us now. But secondly, the most important data point that I heard today was President Biden saying that mere hours before the attack, the suspect posted a number of videos that professed his allegiance to ISIS. That is kind of boilerplate ISIS, which is that these people who are often inspired online, inspired remotely, they sometimes have never seen an actual ISIS member face to face. They will profess their allegiance to this ideology in an electronic digital medium in order to escalate their attack and align themselves with this larger ideology, and then go ahead and perpetrate it. What is interesting here is that officials are, as of right now, looking at this as an attack that might involve more than one person, more than just the suspect whose mugshot we're looking at now. They believe that it might be, that others may be involved, in part because of the fact that there were improvised explosive devices or alleged improvised devices that were found inside the car, some of which were left in various places on the route. And that suggests to them a greater coordination. The key thing to understand about ISIS is that there's often this distinction that is made between an ISIS attack that is carried out by people who train with the group in Iraq or Syria or elsewhere, and an inspired attack. But one of the strategic things that ISIS itself did, going all the way back to 2014, is they blurred that distinction. They made public statements through their officials, inciting people all over the world to take up their mantle, to take up their brand, saying that all you have to do is kill an infidel, kill a Christian, kill a so-called crusader, as they call them, claim it for the group, and you become part of their larger cause. And they've been extremely effective in reaching people remotely who have never traveled to the Middle East or elsewhere, which is what this appears to be.
Yeah, and suggesting that one of the easiest ways and most effective ways to do so is by using a truck. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.